Hello, students. Now we'll discuss process of globalization. Process of globalization has always been used in economic terms. In economic terms, though it has always taken the political and cultural dimensions. Economic terms as well as political and cultural dimensions. Once economic changes occur, it has several social political manifestations. यानी जब भी इकोनॉमिक चेंजेस होंगे मीन्स इकोनॉमिक पॉलिसी में चेंजेस होंगे तो ऑब्वियसली सोशल और पॉलिटिकल चेंजेस भी होंगे. Globalization is generally termed as an increase in economic integration among nations. देखें, an increase in economic integration among nations. Even before several nation states were not even born, the countries around the world has gone for globalization. A closer integration of their economies. This globalization lasted from 1800 to 1930, interrupted by the Great Depression. जबकि 1919 की बात कर रहे हैं हम. 1919 में जो भारी मंदी हुई थी, सबसे बड़ी आर्थिक मंदी. इन द टू वॉर्स, जो दो सेकेंड वर्ल्ड वॉर हुए थे, which led to retrenchment and several trade barriers were erected since early 1930s. The concept was popularized by Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD, Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, in the mid 1980s, again after the wars. In its earlier deliberalization, the organization had defined globalization in very narrow and business-like sense. Cross-border investment by an OECD company outside its country of origin for its benefit is globalization. Like business-like sense में बात कर रहे हैं. After the summit of the OECD, proposals for replacing the GATT by the WTO. Okay, it is clear ना कि भाई WTO ने GATT को replace किया था, were pushed by the developed economies of the world. Better known as the starting of the Uruguay round of GATT deliberations, which ends in Marrakesh 1994 with the birth of WTO. Okay, उरुग्वे राउंड के रिजल्ट में हम कह सकते हैं कि WTO का बर्थ हुआ. In the meantime, the OECD has defined globalization officially. This is 1995. A shift from a world of distinct national economies to a global economy. Shift from national economies to a global economy in which production is internationalized and financial capital flows freely and instantly between countries. So capital flows will be freely and instantly. The official meaning of globalization for the WTO is movement of economies of the world towards unrestricted cross border movements of goods and services. दोनों तरह की बात कर रहे हैं हम, गुड्स की भी और सर्विसेज की भी. तो अनरिस्ट्रिक्टेड मूवमेंट्स होने चाहिए, प्रतिबंधित नहीं होने चाहिए. कैपिटल एंड द लेबर फोर्स both. It simply means that the economies who are signatories to the process of globalization means signatories to the WTO, World Trade Organization. For them, there will be nothing like foreign or indigenous goods and services, capital, and labor. The world becoming a flat and level playing field emerging in the due process of time. For many political scientists, which is today a very dominant force in the world, political scientists. Globalization is the emergence of a situation when our lives are increasingly shaped by the events that occur at a great distance from us, about which the decisions are not taken by our conscious self. One section of experts believe that globalization subordinates the state, while the other section argues the local, national, and global events constantly interact under it without any subordination of one by the other. Rather, globalization highlights the deepening as well as broadening, deepen as well as broaden of the political process in this sense. India became one of the founding members of the WTO, founding members, and was obliged to promote the process of globalization. Through its economic reform started, आर्थिक सुधार की बात कर रहे हैं हम, ग्लोबलाइजेशन से ही शुरू हुए थे आर्थिक सुधार, with no such obligations. It is a different thing that India started the process of globalization right after the reforms 1991. Now we may connect the three simultaneous processes. The LPG, with which India launched its reform program. The process of liberalization shows movement of economy towards the market economy. Privatization is the route through which it will travel to realize the ultimate goal, that is globalization. It should be noted here that the Indian idea of globalization is deeply and frequently inclined towards the concept of welfare state. Indian idea of globalization is welfare state. This was the concept which keeps coming in the day-to-day public policy as an empathetic reference. Public policy as an emphatic reference. The world, including the IMF, the WP, and the developed nations, having no हाँ जी, developed nations have now increasingly shown their recognition to the fact that the official goal of globalization of the world economies would not take place without giving the poor of the world a better standard of living. ओके, जब भी तक गरीब वर्ग के का जीवन स्तर में सुधार नहीं हो जाता, तो उसके बिना हम कहते हैं ग्लोबलाइजेशन का जो उद्देश्य है वो पूरा नहीं माना जाएगा। एक तरह से हम देखें तो ग्लोबलाइजेशन बैलेंस्ड ग्रोथ के लिए एडॉप्ट किया गया। जैसे कि हम बात कर रहे थे कि इकोनॉमिक रिफॉर्म्स, आर्थिक सुधार हुए बहुत सारे। तो इवन इफ पॉवर्टी रिमूव करना उद्देश्य रहेगा। इवन इफ ग्लोबलाइजेशन इज कंप्लीट विदाउट इंक्लूडिंग ऑलमोस्ट 1/5 ऑफ वर्ल्ड पॉपुलेशन, दैट इज पुअर सेक्शन के 1/5 जो है वो ऑलमोस्ट पुअर ही है, विल इट बी कॉल्ड डेवलपमेंट ऑफ द वर्ल्ड। तो ये क्वेश्चन अराइज होता है कि अगर जो 1/5 एरिया पुअर है पॉपुलेशन का पार्ट, तो क्या डेवलपमेंट ऑफ द वर्ल्ड जो है तो ये कहना क्या सही है कि डेवलपमेंट ऑफ वर्ल्ड जो है वी गेटिंग नो और यस, क्योंकि ग्लोबलाइजेशन का मुख्य उद्देश्य जो था दैट इज रिमूवल ऑफ पॉवर्टी। सो विल डू लेटर। थैंक यू।